Welcome to Electrical Engineer's second Solidworks 2016 tutorial. In this tutorial, I will highlight the tools within the sketch function and how to create a sketch. I will explain all the different tools, including the Smart Dimensions tool. To begin, go to File, New, Part. Wait for the new part to load. Go to the Sketch menu options. Your default loading will probably bring you to the features. Just click on the Sketch menu option to bring up the Sketch menu. Next, to create a new sketch, just click on the Sketch option. I will be sketching on the top plane for the purpose of this tutorial. As you can see, here is the Smart Dimensions tool, which I will explain how you can use. The Smart Dimensions tool can be used to determine or find the distance of a certain line, rectangle, circle, spline, ellipse, polygon, or a straight slot. You can also find the fillet dimensions with it. Smart Dimensions can also be used to set all of these values. To begin, I will just draw a simple line by clicking in the center and dragging out. This line is an undetermined length. As you could see, when I clicked on the endpoint, the sketch tool gave me the option to continue sketching. Just press Escape to cancel and just to go back to the default options. To set the dimensions or find the dimensions, click on the Smart Dimensions tool and highlight the edge you want to measure, and when it goes orange, click on it and drag out. Make sure it's at the right angle. Now you can see the dimension it is at currently. If you just want to leave it at that, click the green check mark. If you want to change it, say I want to change it to 100, type in 100 and then press the check mark. This will change the dimension of this line to 100. Note that this unit is displayed in the unit cell, in the unit that you have selected when you first created your document. You can also make sure that you are in the right unit by checking down here on the right corner. If you are not in the right unit, make sure that you select the one you prefer. The line option also has a center line and midpoint line option. A center line is a line that's mostly used for construction, and as you can see, it's a dotted line, so you can clearly distinguish between a design line and a construction line. You can also find the midpoint line, which, as the name suggests, is a line that you can draw from the midpoint of another line. Next is the circle tool. With the circle tool, you just have to click it in the center and then drag out. To use the Smart Dimension tool on this, you have to click on the outer edge and then you can just set the diameter of the circle. Let's make this diameter 150 millimeters. As you can see, the dimensions changed. Make sure that you do not try to set the radius, as that will result in an error. As you can see, cannot dimension between an arc and its center point. A circle also has an option called a perimeter circle, which you can use to draw a circle by right-clicking on 3 points on an outside edge. I've already clicked twice on the outside of the circle and on the center point. If I click a third time, the circle will be set. Next, this is useful if you are creating a circle in a design where you will not have the center point of the circle, however you will have the edges that you want to fit the circle into. Next, the spline. The spline has a style spline or equation-driven curve option. Please note that for simple sketches and designing simple objects, you will not need the style spline or the equation-driven curve. Style spline allows a larger variety of variables to be edited, and in an equation-driven curve, you can enter the equation that you would like the spline to represent. I will not highlight these in this tutorial as they are more complex and you should not be worried about how to use them as a beginner. As you can see, a spline can be started just by clicking on a certain point, then clicking the next point, and then just clicking, and as you see, the more how I click around, the spline changes curves based on that. You can then click on the point and change the angle and the different thresholds of that certain point. Next is the rectangle tool. The rectangle tool has a variety of ways you can draw it. The most commonly used one is the corner rectangle and center rectangle tool. The corner rectangle, you click on a certain point, drag out, and click on the second edge. You can use the Smart Dimensions tool just by highlighting it, entering a value, pressing enter, and say the other one we will set to 60. As you can see, the dimensions of it change. For the spline, it's more complex, however you can still use this tool. For the splines, it's usually if you want it to be an accurate distance from each other, or if you want to make sure that multiple splines are exactly identical when you would use the Smart Dimensions tool on it. Next is the center rectangle, which as the name suggests, you start in the center and drag out. As you can see, this is a useful tool when you are starting a sketch with a square or a rectangle. Just for this example, I will quickly just dimension it. Let's make it 60, let's make it 20. As you can see, this also has diagonal lines to it. You can also dimension these if you would like to dimension them and not dimension the outer edges. If you would like to have fewer smart dimensions and have a cleaner sketch. Next is the 3-point rectangle tool. This is useful the same way as the 3-point circle tool. You have to click on 3 points, and that's when your rectangle will be sketched. You can try these tools out and experiment with them to find which one is the best for your design purpose. Next is the 3-point center rectangle. As you can see in these small icons, you can see which points you click on. The center rectangle is the one similar to this one, only it requires 3 points instead of 2. You can see here I drew a very big one. A parallelogram is, as the name suggests, a parallelogram. You click on one point, you click on the next point, and you drag up and you can change the dimensions. The Smart Dimensions tool is also able to measure angles. So if you click on one edge and then click on the next edge, you can set the angle. Let's set this angle to 45 degrees. The Smart Dimensions tool is very useful to draw accurate sketches, and it will benefit you greatly if you learn how to use it. Next is the center point arc, tangent arc, or 3-point arc. These arcs are useful if you want to draw a semicircle. You can use the default arc tool just by clicking the center of the arc, clicking to the dimension of the circle or arc, and then just dragging around, and you can see how the dimensions change. You can use the Smart Dimensions tool on this the same way. The tangent arc and 3-point arc are self-explanatory based on the previous design tools I've highlighted. Next is the ellipse, partial ellipse, parabola, or conic tool. The ellipse tool is similar to the circle tool, only you have to select the center, drag out, select the radius, and then drag the sideways dimensions. An ellipse you can also smart dimension by clicking on the 2 points and setting the dimension. Let's set it to 175. You can also set the linear dimensions by clicking on the 2 side edges, or the center or the edge. I would recommend always measuring the 2 side edges, as that will make sure that the dimensions are precise. The partial ellipse, parabola, and conic tool are the partial ellipse tool is self-explanatory. However, the parabola tool may be a bit more difficult to use. You click on it, and then you have to drag out the dimension you would like to use it at. Then you drag out, select the angle, and just click. And as you see, now I can sketch my parabola at a certain angle I would like to. Let's just do another one with the conic tool. This requires the same theory. If I click on it, I set the distance, and as you can see, this is the same. It will result in a similar object, only it works in a different way to sketch it. There we go, and we have drawn a parabola and a conic. Next is our straight slot tool. As you can see, this requires 2 points and then a drag out. This is useful if, say, you are designing a running track. You can dimension these the same way as every other sketch we have learned of. You can also see other ways of drawing a straight slot or an arc slot. The little icons are very useful because they tell you which 3 points you will have to select. Next, I will quickly highlight the Polygon tool, and that will be it for this tutorial. The Polygon tool is a tool that is very useful if you want to design nuts, screws, or other objects which are a polygon. You can change the number of sides here in the property manager. You can also change different dimensions or create a new polygon. I will just set the number of sides to 10, and I'm going to set the inner circle diameter to 300, and just click the check mark to finish. If you accidentally click with the tool somewhere and you don't actually want to sketch it, just press escape and Solidworks will cancel it. You can also draw texts. And finally, the fillet tool. The fillet tool allows you to curve down edges. So you highlight one edge of a rectangle and the other one, and as you can see, it creates a curve. You can change the radius of that fillet to make it larger on the rectangle. Finally, there is the trim tool. The trim tool allows you to trim off entities to a certain point. Say we highlight this, we can just remove it until this line, and now it's removed. This is useful if you're using other entities to reference to each other, and then you just want to remove them because you will not want to extrude them. There is also mirror entities, linear sketch pattern, and circular sketch pattern. These are all quite self-explanatory, and I will highlight them in later tutorials when we will get to use them. To exit your sketch, you can just press exit sketch, and as you can see, here are the sketches we have created today. This is a simple overview of the sketch menu option in Solidworks. Thank you for watching,